I think they're ready for us. Let's get it. So what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of We Got Next. I'm one of your hosts of the show, Hayes, aka AO Shifty. And of course, you all can see I'm coming to you all from a brand new location. That's because I decided to take this one international. And we decided to bring this one on the road. So I'm currently in Mexico right now. So if anybody's out here in Mexico, show me love, say what's up. I'll be out here probably for a couple of days. Steven's going to hop on in a little bit, but just wanted to end up kicking this off because you know how the days be and the nights be in Mexico. So we had to end up getting this one out there. We got the games coming on tonight as well. So it's a lot of different things that are going on. And we wanted to end up bringing you guys an episode as always. If you guys have been listening, you know that Steven put out a Quick Slants episode on Sunday. And then Monday, I have to give a huge shout out to everyone that came to end up listening and tuning in to the first of the Twitter spaces that I'm doing. It's a way to end up just spotlighting and showcasing all the different Solana NFTs that are going to be on OpenSea. And we started off with Solana Monkey University. We have our next one coming up this week. Two of them are going to be on OpenSea, and another one is one that I've been talking to for a minute. So we do have, as everyone knows, Famous Fox Federation. They're going to be on there. So definitely make sure to end up tuning in for them. We also have Jelly Beast that will be coming on the show. So that's another one that you all need to make sure to end up tuning in for, just listening to what they have to say. And then we also have Dope Cats. So Dope Cats is one. They end up also help me do some of the artwork that is out there that you all see. So I'm excited to have those three on, just have a good conversation and talk to them. The first one with Solana Monkey University and Tricks. That was a good one. We talked about various different topics. And then he also had some questions from the audience. So that was cool to end up hearing them talk about things too. So we have this one on next Monday, so April 18th. Then I have another one that'll be happening on April 20th. So we have a couple of them that are coming up. So we have an April 18th one, we have an April 20th one, then we have an April 25th one. So make sure just to stay tuned and look out for those different episodes that we do have coming out. So it's something that I'm excited for, I'm looking forward to. And hey, we just got to keep it going in that direction. Moving on into the next bit of things that are happening. So we'll touch on a lot of the cryptocurrency stuff that's going on. But Meta will be taking 50% of all of the NFT sales that happen in this metaverse. That's what we're trying to get away from. We don't want to have the big name companies taking so much of the sales, because the whole point of this is to give back to the actual owners. If you look on Magicated, if you look on OpenSea, they're taking less than 10 to 12% most times. And it's not just OpenSea. So the profit will be for the one that has it. In the beginning, it'll end up being most of the times the person that ended up minting it and stuff, and the main profit would end up coming from the creator. So whoever created the collection, they'll be the main ones that end up doing it. Then after that, when it's on the secondary market, there's a royalty that goes back to the collector each time. So that's something that you can end up continuing to see happen on OpenSea, Magic Eden, Solana Art, and those of nature, because then when we end up going to Meta's world, they're going to end up taking so much more. So just stay tuned for that and just see what ends up happening. I personally wouldn't recommend anybody, this is not financial advice, but I recommend to nobody that they end up doing any of that on Meta. Of course, some will, because they're going to bring in so much, but we'll end up seeing what happens that way. So the next bit of news that's been out there is Binance is going to invest $108 million into France and a lot of their different blockchain and then stablecoin and things that they're doing over there, their initiatives when it comes to the cryptocurrency market. So we'll end up seeing how that ends up going as well. The next one that is a big story, and it's multiple different things for it. So for starters, shout out to Frank. Happy birthday. Today's his birthday. So if anyone out there knows, it's been the running joke on Twitter of who the fuck is Frank or what is Frank. I was joking around with Yaku, which is another NFT, because they said, who the F is Frank? And I said, Frank, what is that? And then they said, Frank, that's probably some high scale hot dog or something like that. But Frank is a DeGod creator, Currently right now, they actually had one DeGod sell for 999 SOL. And the equation for that is around 6 figures. So for everyone out there that just wants to do simple math, that's that. Another thing is there was a big time whale that ended up sweeping the floor of Solana on Frank's birthday, and they ended up bringing the floor price up to 200 Solana, so that equates out to over $21,000 for the lowest DGOT. So congratulations to everyone that's out there in terms of that. I did remind everyone already, but just want to say it again that the next Twitter Spaces will be on Monday. We're looking forward to that one. So April 18th, that's going to be an important one and a big one. So make sure you guys all tune in for that one. And then the other thing I want to just let everyone know about is so Alif Zero. Currently, they're sitting at a floor price of $2.84. So that's something else that is very important because with them sitting at $2.84, they're continuing to move even though the market is pulling back. So Bitcoin currently, as everyone probably has seen, is sitting at $41,000, but Alif Zero continues to do its own thing. So for everyone out there that are figuring out ways to end up getting into cryptocurrencies that are moving against Bitcoin, and the ratio, the comparison of whatever that altcoin is to Bitcoin is continuing to increase, you guys are making out really good. So congratulations to everyone that's been doing that. Something that I'm very excited for, and you guys will start to end up seeing more about, is what SoulGods is doing. So they have a new collection called Bridged. It's under Fracture, and the artwork looks dope. So anyone that's been out there looking at Fracture and looking at what SoulGods is doing, SoulGods has been running. If you have not looked at the price on Magic Eden, it legit has been running. So continue to end up paying attention to what SoulGods is doing. Yaku, for everyone out there, Yaku is going to have their avatars that'll be minting on April 30th, and it'll be at a whitelist price of 1.75 Solana. So try to end up just getting your one bike and then your capsule, and then you'll be able to mint for 1.75. These are things you should probably hold on to as well, just because they're building so much. Again, this isn't financial advice. This is just what I've been doing for a while, just going into that. And then my final thing I wanted to end up saying, and this is the segue part into us getting into the sports aspect. So Steven, I was just looking at different sports bets because, as everyone knows, I talk a lot about the different sports betting that goes on. But a person basically lost a good amount of money on sports betting, and they cashed out a big bet that they had for $7. Then they end up flipping that bet into basically three players that were going to end up scoring the first bucket in the NBA or so. And then they end up netting $4,000 off of them cashing out $7, and they flipped that. So one, because we both have talked about like these different sports bets that goes on. What are your thoughts on that?
I wish I could do it. Like I see all these guys bet. Like I follow this guy Kenny on Twitter. I forget what his handle is. But he does the same shit. And it's like, he posts all these bets on, I don't know if it's FanDuel, it's one of those sites, but he like he'll do, first bucket, of every game basically. And like that's how it goes. Time out a second. Can you stop recording for a second?
So just the crazy part about the sports betting aspect of it all is I did it today, and the reason why I ended up doing it today was because I saw someone else do some with sports betting. Just going off to what Steven said, talking about different people that he sees on Twitter. I saw this one person end up just betting on every single game in that MLB. And that's something that I said, all right, you know what? Let me just bet on every single game. They legit turned maybe 86 cents into a couple hundred or a couple thousand. I was saying, there's no way in hell that this really is something that can happen. So I said, hey, what the hell? So I probably placed like $1 bet or something like that on it. And I'm curious as to what will end up happening if I'll win it. I highly doubt I'm going to end up doing it, but you don't know until you try. So that's been the big thing with sports betting. Some other topics that end up happening are, so Joel Embiid, as everyone knows, Joel Embiid ended up winning the scoring title. That was the big thing. Another thing was just going into it, Frank Vogel did get let go. It was in a weird way that Frank Vogel did end up getting let go. But if you end up hearing anything, you heard about like Russell Westbrook's takes on all of it. You heard some people saying that Russell Westbrook's basically probably going to get traded to the East. Some people in like the Stephen Court believe that Russell Westbrook and all three of them should end up running it back. But what are your thoughts on Frank Vogel and the firing?
I think it's expected, right? Like
we knew that the day of the game. Like it was an obvious thing.
We knew. I feel like I honestly don't know how he lasted the entire season.
No,
I think because all right, so I think like they had so many injuries. Kendrick Nunn banged his knee on an end table and was out the entire season.
he did.
AD was out. LeBron was out for stretches. Westbrook is the only one who didn't miss the game until the end because they said, fuck it. Like, why do we need to play him? You know, Melo missed his time. Malik Monk missed some time. Avery Bradley, like everybody on that roster missed X amount of games. So, like, was the season a failure? Sure. Like, you can call it that. But, like, if you have, and I'll go to my grave saying this, if you have the best player in the league, which is LeBron, in my opinion, still, and you have arguably, and and you and I have been down this road before, and I've been down this road with everybody, I think. Like, if we're talking about the best players in the NBA playing their best game, like not just scoring, but like doing everything that they can do well to impact the game, AD is like probably number 2. Like, people can debate that because he's hurt. People are going to say, well, he doesn't play enough. Well, when he plays and when he's healthy, when he played that game against the Nuggets, I think it was 2 Sundays ago when LeBron was out and AD had like 12 of the first 16 points or something like that. Like when he's healthy and they're playing their best, him and LeBron, there's not a better duo in the league. People can say Kyrie KD, which we saw last night, was pretty significant. I saw you raise the eyebrow. Like, yes, they did they did their thing. But like when LeBron and AD are healthy on both ends of the floor, there's not a better duo in the league because they can impact the game in so many different ways. They can guard so many positions. So was the season a failure? Sure, because the Lakers, quote unquote, didn't make the playoffs. But if you're not healthy for the entire season and you can't put all 3 of those guys on the court together for more than 20 games, which I think they only played 17 games together. No, I think actually it's less than that. I think they played like less than 15 games together. AD, Russ, and LeBron. Maybe played like maybe 10.
It was 10.
Give or take. Like if you can't play all 3 of those guys together on the court for like, half the season, what do you really expect to have happen for the season? So yeah, Vogel's gone. Like they have to bring in someone who is going to be a splash hire. I texted you, like they can't bring in the Magic's, 3rd bench coach. Like it's got to be someone that everybody knows. It's got to be a big time coach, and it's got to be someone who can get that team. Like, I think not to go off topic, but I don't think you need a head coach like in the NBA. Like you can have if you have a
Kyrie.
Yeah. Yes, that. And you can have a LeBron and be a player coach. Like that's it. Like that can be a real thing. Mm-hmm. But I think like some of these guys just like, we need like the title to give them as like head coach. But like you don't need that really. But in the sense of talking about being a head coach, they need to splash hire. They need to bring in someone who can, galvanize that team and bring those guys together and play defense. But you got to be healthy first. If you're not healthy, then it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Like, the Nets, like, it's not like the Nets were not like, KD missed a handful of games, but it's not like Kyrie was hurt. He was just not getting the vaccine. But then, of course, everybody knew that they were going to change the mandate before the playoffs started.
You knew they weren't going to have
everybody was going to know that, bro. Everybody knew that was going to happen. That's not like that wasn't breaking news. But like, they were healthy for most of the season, but Kyrie was only playing in the road games. So Vogel, that was expected. I think that was expected about halfway through the season. Like, all right, Lakers are struggling. Vogel's not going to make it past the season. If he makes it to the end of the season, it's going to be a fucking miracle, which he did. So shout out to him. But it's got to be a splash hire for sure.
Yeah. So I want to bring up the game that happened yesterday. I mean, of course, there were a couple of games. We can talk about the glue girl on the court in Minnesota, or we can end up talking about the Brooklyn game. So that's what I want to start with. Brooklyn and Cleveland, it was to be expected as to what happened. I compared earlier Brooklyn and UNC in the same boat because UNC was far underranked. And then Brooklyn, you guys really thought that Brooklyn wasn't about to get out of their playing games. Like, come on, they were going to get out of that.
Right.
But what was your takeaway seeing those two play and then the potential for Ben Simmons to come back?
Ben Simmons is not coming back. No, I'm not going to talk about that. Like, I'm so tired of Ben Simmons. I'm so tired about the Ben Simmons news. If he comes back, great. If he doesn't, it's what I expect. Brooklyn expect them to win. They get Boston, which is going to be a great series.
That is.
This is a series where Jason Tatum can take that next step and be a maybe like not top 5 guy, but like borderline type of, kind of like Trae Young did last year. Like he can be that guy that takes that next step and becomes, we got to talk about him as a potential like real MVP type of guy. Are we going to talk about the Minnesota game?
Yep, that's the next game I wanted to talk about. So you can end up telling me your thoughts on how you think the series is going to go between Brooklyn and Boston, but then also what are your thoughts on the Minnesota game? I mean, I personally said that Minnesota and the Clippers were both going to move on. But what are your thoughts on that? You could talk about Blue Girl too.
So Brooklyn and Boston. I think Brooklyn wins that series because when it comes down to having more firepower, Brooklyn, I think, obviously has 2 guys that can get you 30 in the same game, whereas Boston does not. I know Jaylen Brown can do it, but it's not as consistent as, the Kyrie to KD or the KD to Kyrie. So, Jason Tatum, you can anticipate in the playoffs, he's going to get, it's like the game slows down for those guys in the playoffs. The game slows down, and all those guys, I've heard them all talk about, once you get to the regular season, you're just hooping. But when you get to the playoffs, like you slow down, you pick apart the defense, and you get to your spot and you score. Yeah. And they a way easier clip. And, for Kyrie and KD, that's probably going to happen. For Jaylen Brown, maybe, but Tatum, you can expect that. So they're going to have to find Al Horford. Shout out to Al Horford, who's still playing the league. Shout out to Marcus Smart, potential defensive player of the year. So, you have all these extra guys who can potentially carry the load. But they're going to need someone like Jaylen Brown's going to have to, put up those 25 points a game.
It's going to be them too.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Brooklyn. I'll call it 6 because Boston has a home court advantage. I'll go Brooklyn 6, but I think that's, I think Kyrie and KD are, and at the end of the day, are going to be too much to handle. Minnesota, and LA.
I have Brooklyn 5, but keep going.
Bro, are we like, I don't even want to talk about the game. I just want to talk about the celebration. Like how unnecessary that is. Like there's I understand how Minnesota hasn't been good since Kevin Garnett left, right? Like they've had their moments, like maybe like singular moment, but like, bro, you really had to celebrate like that after you win a play-in game?
You have to let Pat Bev live one day.
A play-in game? No, I don't. No, I don't. Like, no, I don't. I don't respect that at all. Like, it's just like, I don't know. You're a professional athlete. You're trying to get into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Like if they win the conference finals or they end up winning the finals, sure, like by all means, dude. I don't care how much champagne you spray, how much you celebrate. Pat Bev can take off all of his clothes. I don't really care. But like when you win the play-in game, bro, as the 7th seed, like, come on, man. Like that's not like, I understand the history of the Timberwolves recently in the last 15, 20 years. It hasn't been great, but like, come on, I don't. And did you see Karl Anthony Towns after the game, with what's his name? What's her name? His girl?
Oh, Jordan Woods.
Bro, you would have thought he put up 40 and 20 the way that they were smooching after the game. My guy played like 25 minutes, but like 14 and 7. What are you doing, bro? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing, man? Come on, you can't do that. Then Pat Bev on the bleachers, taking his jersey off, throwing it in the crowd, crying after the game. And like the TNT guys were wrecking them after the game, wrecking them. And then this morning, Stephen A, I don't think he said he didn't see the celebration, but then Tim Legler and Jason Williams, were like, they were kind of also shitting on them as well. I mean, I was too. Like, you know how like, I'm not like, I was rooting for the T-Wolves last night. Not anymore. I'm done.
Steven had them.
I did. I'm not rooting for them. Oh, should we get into that now?
That's what I was gonna say. Who do you have?
Numbers.
Who do they play?
Numbers.
Well, who do they play? The numbers? And then yes, after you tell me who they play and what your outcome is, then you can get into the numbers.
They play the Grizzlies.
Yes.
They play Christian's Grizzlies.
Yes.
Pat Bev gets to guard Ja Morant for a 7-game series.
That's
not going to go well for Pat Bev. I don't care. Look, Pat Bev, he's great. He's just a pest. Like, good defensive player, great defensive player at some points. He's just a pest. He gets under your skin. You know, he's just like, and he knows it. Like, he knows he's getting under my skin, but I'm going with the Grizz. I know you're picking the Grizz, right?
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah.
We've waited too long to get to this point.
We? How long have you been a Grizzlies fan?
Since Allen Iverson was there.
Oh my God. That doesn't you can't even find one of those jerseys anywhere, probably.
No, you can't. That's one of the few times Allen Iverson had a haircut.
He was with them for like a tip, and then he was out.
That was it.
He pulled a Drew Holiday. Tip, got a foul, got his money, got out.
And that was it. And then that's when he started coming off the bench. Then Rudy Gay was there. And then this is night and day.
No. AI is not coming. AI is like, no. I'm not doing that shit.
I'm not doing that shit.
No, sir.
No, but I have them. It gets real interesting after that, because if the Grizzlies win, they're either going to play the Warriors or the Nuggets. And that's when the real games begin as to who they're going to end up playing and would they be able to get out of that round. Because the first round, it'll be a fight because they haven't gotten this far in a minute. So it'll probably go like 6 games or so. I wouldn't be surprised. My X factor for that game is probably going to be Desmond Bane or Dillon Brooks out of it, because I know Steven Adams is going to be a bully towards Karl Anthony Towns. So that's going to go here and there. But Desmond Bane and then Dillon Brooks are going to be a couple of the guys that are going to have to guard Anthony Edwards. So that's
keep going.
Yeah, so that's when it becomes an important thing, because Bane will give you the buckets on the offensive side. But Edwards can put up 30, 40 points if he wants to as well.
This is a big, like, there's a lot of players coming to the playoffs. It's a big stretch for them. Like I mentioned Jason Tatum. This is a big stretch for him. You mentioned Karl Anthony Towns. Like, you know, people know he's legit, but doing it in the playoffs
is
like
different.
You know, you can do it for X amount of years in the regular season. It won't really matter. But doing it now in the playoffs, and much like the game that's going on right now with Atlanta and Charlotte, and Atlanta's kicking their ass, this is another big series, another big potential playoff run for Trae Young.
Yes,
I mean, we saw what he did last year. They got to the conference finals, but can you do that again? Can you carry your team again to the conference finals? So I feel like this is a big playoff run for a lot of different guys. I don't know how much pressure is on the guys like Ja Morant, because they're fresh in the playoffs. But again, like, I mean, I don't really give a shit like what you do in the regular season. It's cool that you can average, 25, 7 and 7 in the playoffs. Like, that's cool. But like, what do you do in the playoffs? Like, that's all we care about. Like, that's all that matters. Like, if and obviously you can't expect them to get, you can't expect guys to carry their teams to the playoffs 8 years in a row. Like, it's like someone else we know did. But again, like, this is, guys like Trae Young, guys like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, role player guys, if you will. It's a big, there's a lot of guys who have a lot to prove in the playoffs. Even guys like maybe like James Harden. He said he doesn't feel the pressure, but there's
no pressure. Ask Stephen A.
I think he's under some pressure going to Philly and kind of, being that second guy, maybe not being the first option, because we all know what Joel Embiid is. But what is James Harden going to do now that he's not the first option, and that they might not rely on him to get 30 and 10 or whatever. They might just say, hey, go get like 25 and, go get 25 and 8 or whatever. So like this is a big play, especially with like guys like LeBron not being in the playoffs, like
these are their chances. Yeah, there's not many non-LeBron years.
That's another thing, bro. I don't know how much of the playoffs I'm really gonna watch because the Lakers on it. Yeah, I know you will because the Lakers on in it. Like, I don't know how much of the playoffs I'm gonna watch really. Like I'll watch them, but like intently because like it's weird because like when the Lakers are in it, I know that there's 15 other teams that are in the playoffs, right? Like there's teams in the East and there's teams in the West when he was with the Cavs and the Heat, like. But I don't know if I'll watch it as intently that he's not in it for whatever reason. I don't know. Like I just like I feel like I'm getting older and like I don't say I don't care as much, but like now if the Pistons were in it, I'd watch it, all the time. Hey,
take some damn years.
We're gonna get the dude from Duke. Ben Caro. Yeah, the homie. Future friend of the show. We're gonna get Bancaro, and we're gonna be right there in it next year. Yeah, I'm telling you, we're gonna be in the play-in game next year. It's play-in. Then we'll get to the the 6th seed, and then we'll work our way up to conference finals, and then by the time we trade Cade and everybody else, then we'll fall back down to the bottom.
I saw something before you get into the stats that said if you're having a bad day, at least you don't root for the Lions, the Tigers, the Red Wings, or the Pistons.
Well, that sucks. But they're right. They're absolutely right. No, that's absolutely true. That's a terrible city to root for right now.
It is. So what happened this year? So give everyone an overview of what we did and then let us know. I already know I lost the West, so I'm already accepting of that.
So I had this genius idea of coming up with our own little like fantasy basketball thing for the year. And the thing was, we picked 5 starters, and it can be any player. And of course, we all picked, we both picked some big time names and everything, but you couldn't pick like Steph, LeBron, Durant. You couldn't pick all, premier players. You had to kind of mix it up. Then 2 bench players, and then for the 2 conferences, we had to go with 2 teams from each conference. One team that made the playoffs last year, and then one team that didn't make the playoffs last year. And then same thing for the West. So Christian we had a dilemma during midseason. We had an injury. And my
whole team got injured.
No. Okay, just chill. Okay, just chill. So you had so my starting 5 was Luka, Jason Tatum, LeBron, Julius Randle, and Kristaps Porzingis. Okay. You had Dame, Devin Booker, KD, Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid. Dame got hurt, obviously, and was out for a majority of the season. And then you wanted to go with John Morant. So I gave you the option of either A, I don't really give you the option. I kind of just told you what I was going to do.
What is going to happen?
So I didn't give you I didn't give you an option. You just went with it. So I said, okay, instead of just, swapping Ja for Dame and just, going one player for one player, I said, you know what, you can add Dame's total to Ja's total at the end of the season, and we'll call it what it is, right? I hate myself for doing that. So my top scorer this year was Jason Tatum. He had over 2,000 points. My season total was 8,065 for my starting 5, which is pretty solid.
That is good.
You had Dame and Ja and Joel Embiid both had 2,000 points, right?
The scoring champion.
Okay. You had 9,022 points, difference of 957 points. If I didn't give you both Dame and Ja's points, and you take off Dame's points, I would have beaten you.
It was that close.
It would have been because Ja had 1,564 points. So I had Luka had 1,847, Tatum had 2046, Bron had 1,600, and Julius Randle had 1,400. Kristaps Porzingis had almost 1,000 points. So I had pretty good, but Devin Booker had 1,800, KD had 1,600, Jimmy Butler sucked. He had 1,200 points. And Joel Embiid had over 2,000. So, but then Ja and Dame had over 2,000 points between them, which I regret giving you both those guys. So yeah, you had 9,022. I had 8,065. So you beat me by like almost 1,000 points. So that sucked. Our benches, we had two guys on the bench over the same. Jordan Clarkson, he had 1,266 this year. I had Andre Drummond.
Goddamn person got injured.
Okay, look, no, listen, shut up. I don't know what's behind you on the wall, but it's weird. There's a lot going on behind you on that wall. So I had Jordan Clarkson, you had Jordan Clarkson. Yeah. I had Andre Drummond, shout out to Drummond. You had Tim Hardaway Jr. Okay. I had 1,846 points. Okay. You had 1,000. Remember, I had 1,846. You had 1,864. You beat me by 18 points.
Who? How?
Hardaway.
He came back?
Yeah, Hardaway. Drummond had 580 on the year. Hardaway had 598 on the year. So you beat me by we both had Clarkson, obviously. So those you beat me by 18 points.
Because he was injured for a minute.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Whatever. So okay. So in the East, we had to pick one team that made the playoffs, one team that did not. In the East, I picked the Heat and the Pistons. In the East, you picked the Bulls and the Nets. The Bulls, they were number one in the East for a hot second, and then they just fell apart. So the Heat were 53-29. Pistons were 23-59. Okay, a total of 76 and 88. You had Bulls and the Nets. Both teams made the playoffs. The Bulls were 46-36. The Nets were 44-38. You beat me with that one. They were 90 and 74 total, and I was 76 and 88. Go to the West. I kicked your ass in the West. It was not even close. I had the Mavs. Well, actually, it's closer than you think. Actually, I didn't kick your ass. This is way closer than you thought. I had the Mavs and the T-Wolves. So the T-Wolves obviously were the surprise. Mavs were 52-30. 52-30. Mavs, T-Wolves were 46-36 for 98-66 win-loss. Kings, you picked the Kings and the Jazz. The Kings missed the playoffs for the 18th straight season.
Damn.
Yeah. Shit. The Kings went 30-52, which was one game bet worse than the Lakers. So take that for what it's worth. And then the Jazz were 49-33 for a 79-85 record. Now, I was 174-54 on the season, right? And you were 169. And for this is for both conferences. Mm-hmm. This is for both. So for the Heat, Pistons, Mavs, and the T-Wolves, I was 174-154 in the season. So I was 20 games above 500. So for the Bulls, Nets, Kings, and Jazz, you were 169-159. So I was only 4 games better than you. Wow. And that. So you beat me in the points, but I beat you in the record. Which we didn't have the Kings. Like we didn't have a like a what we were gonna bet on it. I think maybe we'll do this for like football season and like quarterback totals and like receivers and running backs and shit like that. So we'll try that for that. But I mean it was close. The Pistons, unfortunately they didn't suck that bad. But fucking Tim Hardaway, 18 points more than
really did it.
Andre Drummond. That sucks.
My team was injured. So
yeah. And like Durant missed a bunch of games. Dame missed half the season.
I remember when I was worried about that too, because they were all injured and Steven was like, no, you don't get Dame and Kevin Durant adjustments. You get one.
Yeah.
But we'll do it for NFL and then the NBA. And
Embiid was out for a hot second. And Porzingis, whatever. LeBron missed his games. Luka missed some games. Also, I don't know if those who listen to the quick slants, I picked the Mavs to go to the finals. I picked the Mavs and the Bucks to go to the finals. And that was literally like 10 minutes before Luka went down with his calf injury. And I don't know if you saw the replay of his injury, but I mean, we've all seen that, like that movement when like they take that step back and like they act like someone shot them in the calf.
And you know what it is.
Look, man, I'm not gonna pull Reggie Miller and say he tore his Achilles, but like, that didn't look good. And then Jason Kidd in the interview asking about the injury, he said he's in good spirits. And I saw someone on Twitter. I saw someone on Twitter said like, "Shit, you only say someone's in good spirits when they're like, when they survived a gunshot wound or like, they had a catastrophic injury and like they're doing okay." So if I mean, obviously, if Luka's not playing for the Mavs, they have zero chance at doing anything in the playoffs, which would suck.
Kid's not about to come out there.
No, sir. So
what you got for everyone?
Shout out to Penn State football for getting a transfer portal guy from Maryland. It was a 5-star D end, Damian Robinson, I think his name is. I probably did not get that right. Shout out to you though for being in Mexico. I forgot that we talked about that last week, and when I was
bowling and golfing in Mexico.
Yeah, I forgot. I tried to forget about that. But I texted you. I said I was going to be a little later than usual because we had some friends over and the kids were up later and whatever. Miles Bridges is getting teed up. But shout out to you though for being in Mexico. You were like, oh yeah, don't worry about him in Mexico. All right, whatever. Like, what are you doing in Mexico, bro? Like, what are you doing in Mexico? I mean, seriously, what are you doing? Why'd you go to Mexico for? People want to know.
Relaxation and peace. And, celebrating the gods.
Who are you with?
The homies.
The homies are everywhere, dude. Apparently not, though, because your boy's still here and your boy's not in Mexico. So,
if we want to talk about Steven takes the most random vacations in the world. Oh, you know what? I'm about to go down to the Penn State game. They're going to be in Florida. Oh, you know what? I'm at this game. Oh, the transfer portal happened. I'm in the transfer portal now. So
Yo, your boy's in the portal, though.
I know.
Your boy. That's funny.
But only thing I got
what's your next trip?
Miami. So I'll be going. So what's interesting, my friend's bachelor party is in June, and it lines up the same weekend. Yeah. And it lines up the same weekend as the NBA finals. So we're hoping that the jersey that Steven has on, if they can get to the finals again, we said we would go to the game. So.
Oh yeah. Good luck with those tickets.
They'll be through the roof. I know.
Yeah. Christian's going to spend all the We Got Next budget on finals tickets. And we're never going to have a show ever again. Christian kind of the top. Who are the people that I love? The NFT or the what's that that crypto that I love to talk about? Their name.
The Shiba Inus. They're on Robinhood.
Yeah, the homies. The homies are gonna pay for the finals, and the homies are gonna back us up for getting new podcast equipment because Christian's gonna sell everything and they go to the finals.
Hey, that'll probably happen, and then we'll just do it all over again.
How long are you in Mexico for, by the way?
Saturday.
When'd you get there?
Today. So I got here at like 1 or 2 o'clock today. I didn't even know what the real time was when I got here.
What are you drinking down there?
Everything. So I probably had Long Island's and then like a Bob Marley and then I don't know, some other things.
Dude.
Probably gonna figure out something later today and then create a concoction.
What time is it there?
So we're an hour behind you, so it's 8:22.
That's it?
I thought it was like 3 hours.
Wait, where are you in Mexico?
Puerto Vallarta. So
all right, so my guy's got an accent now too. My guy's been there for 4 hours. My guy's got a fucking accent. Like, all right, bro, you and the homies got accents now. Jeez, bro, what are you doing? Christian's gonna come back as Cristiano or some bullshit like that. This fucking guy. My God.
What's crazy is that was gonna be my shout out today. Because so I had a flight. My first flight was Reagan, Atlanta. Then my second one was Atlanta to Puerto Vallarta, and that was 3.5, like 4 hours. And
no. The real question is, what'd you fly?
Delta.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I cannot fly anything else. Really, I had my issues. I cannot.
Yo,
do anything
speaking of flights, did you see that Spirit Airlines flight that I forget if it was like they took off and then like before they took off, they had to make a like emergency landing back at like the same airport, or they went to a different airport or whatever.
Sounds
or
like my flight.
Or it was like a landing and this happened. But bro, they landed and I shit you not, the plane fucking split in half. Like it landed and it was like coming down the runway and like it was more so like the back of the airplane just like went down, like the landing gears went out or some shit, and the plane dead ass like split in half. A split in half. Spirit Airlines. So shout out to Spirit Airlines for split flights.
Nope. Yeah, I was just gonna say, so I've never watched a whole episode of First Take, but when you're on a flight, you ain't got much shit to do. Like it's either movies, a flight, listening to TV, or if you have Wi-Fi on it.
Can you sleep on the plane or no?
It's so tough. I went to sleep without realizing it for like 20 minutes, and then I woke up and I was just up for the rest of the time.
Because I dead ass think if I fall asleep on the plane, I'm not waking up. Like
exactly. Are they gonna wake me up? Or so what if something happens? Yeah, so I want to.
I'm just gonna die.
I like to be next to the window so I could see what's happening. If something's about to happen, I can have control of getting to where I need to get to. But
and like if you're not sitting next to the homies, like shout out to Southwest for letting you sit next to the homies. But like if you're not next to the homies, like is the person next to you, is like you're the guy next to you, Frank, gonna wake you up? If like, hey dude, we're going down, like you might want to wake up and have some quick final thoughts before we crash into Earth or some shit like that. Yeah. But
thankfully that's just my homies, some random strangers I had, they were really nice both times. The first time it was like mom and their teenage son. Then the second time it was like an older couple. So they were both really nice, drinking. So I ended up saying like, all right, let's celebrate you seeing your grandkid after 6 months. So I said that's what ended up happening. But I watched the whole episode of First Take, so I got to hear everything of Stephen A's takes, Tim Legler.
How awful was that?
It was very interesting. That was a lot that went on. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And so I listened to that, listened to Mel Kiper. Of course, I talked about Philly today, so I was like, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
the homies. So that's what I got this week. Next week, we have a lot going on. So make sure to tune in and catch out Steven's Quick Slants. So that's everything.
I'm gonna probably put out a quick slant either tomorrow or I put one out on Monday. So go check it out on Spotify. I might put one out tomorrow night, kind of recap. Baseball's kind of getting into their initial groove. Hockey playoffs are starting. Obviously, the NBA is starting. I might wait till next week until the NBA playoffs are kind of more into full swing and we don't just the playing games to talk about. But lots coming up on the quick slants.
Yeah. So with that, we got nothing else. We'll catch you next week. Tune in. We out.
Peace.